To list the dates of all the weekdays between two specific dates like the start date and the end date, we can use sequence function. Select the cell, press equals, press tab to insert the sequence function, select the end date, minus, select the start date. Now as we want to list only the dates between the start and the end date, to exclude the end date, insert -1, comma, skip the column's argument, comma again, select the start date, and again for the same reason, in order to exclude the start date from the list, insert +1, close bracket, hit enter, and now you have the list of dates of all the weekdays between the start and the end date. For your convenience, the dates that fall on weekend are in different color. Now that we have the full list of weekdays, we need a way to extract just the workdays or only the weekends from this list of weekdays. This is where weekday function can help us identify which date is workday or weekend. Now very briefly, weekday function basically returns a specific number for each date based on the weekday, like 1 for Monday, 2 for Tuesday, and so on until 7 for Sunday. Now let's get the weekday number for each date in our weekdays list. Select the cell, press equals, press tab to insert the weekday function, select the range that contains the weekdays list, comma. From here we will go with the second option, as Monday is the first day in the week. Press tab to insert 2, close bracket, hit enter, and here we get the list of weekday number for each date in our weekdays list. Now it's quite obvious that only the first 5 days of the week are workdays. In other words, the numbers that are less than 6 are workdays. To find such numbers from the entire list, we can run a simple test by making a slight change to this formula. Again, select the first cell, press F2 to enter edit mode, and at the end of the formula, add less than 6, press enter, and this will convert entire list in true and false array, where true is returned for all such dates that are workdays and false is returned for all such dates that are weekends. Now that we have this array of true and false, we can use this as criteria to extract workdays from the weekdays list. Let's copy this formula by going to the first cell, skip the equal sign, Control C, press escape, and in the next column, press equals, filter, press tab to insert the filter function. Now the array that we want to filter is the weekdays list. So select the entire range, press comma, press Ctrl V to paste the formula, close bracket, hit enter, and this gives you the list of dates that are only workdays. Now, although we got the workdays list, our formula is not ideal, as it depends on another column that is technically called a helper column. In our case, it's column E, as we refer to cell E4 twice in our formula. Now remember, E4 hash is simply the reference to the data range that contains our weekdays list. One of the ways to make a formula independent of the helper column is by simply copying the very formula in cell 4 in our workdays list formula. So let's go to cell E4, select the formula, skipping the equal sign, hit Ctrl C to copy the formula, hit escape, and now coming back to our workdays list formula, for every reference to E4 cell, we will replace it with the formula we just copied. Hit Ctrl V, select the second reference of cell E4, Ctrl V again, and hit enter to confirm. Now this change has made our formula definitely independent of column E. However, it has created another issue. Our formula is long, hard to understand, and with repetitive statement. This is where let function can help us sort this issue. Let's take a step back by hitting Ctrl Z. We are back at the E4 reference in our formula. Go to the formula bar and immediately after the equal sign, type let. Press tab to insert the let function. Define a new name. I go with D, comma, E4 hash, comma. And now that we have named the range E4 as D, we can replace wherever the E4 reference is made in the formula with its new name. So replace E4 hash with D, and same for the second reference. Insert a closing bracket and hit enter to confirm. Now as the last step, we can simply replace the E4 reference with the very formula in cell E4 to finalize our formula. So let's go to cell E4, copy the formula, Ctrl C, escape, back into the Workdays formula, and instead of E4 hash, we'll paste the formula we just copied and hit enter to confirm. And finally, we have the formula that gives us the list of workdays without the need of any helper column and is much shorter, cleaner, and easier to understand. Similarly, to get the list of weekend only dates, we can use the same formula we used to extract workdays with a small change. Let's copy the formula, Ctrl C, hit escape, and in the next column, paste the formula. Now remember, the weekends are the last 2 days of the week, or in other words, the dates that has a weekday number of 6 and 7. So instead of less than 6, we'll make it greater than 5, hit enter, and there you have the list of dates that contains only weekends. So that's it for this video. Hope you have learned something new. I'm Hassan Fazal and I will catch you in the next one.